Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see, in this game I am playing the Tier 10 Imperial Japanese Navy destroyer Shimakaze. This is definitely one of my favorite ships to play. I really enjoy the play style. I would say this and Gearing are probably my two most played high tier ships, although there are some others that are beginning to catch up a little bit. Matchmaking, well, it's decent. There is a CV on either team, which is always kind of a worry anytime you're playing a destroyer. Um, there's some radar to be concerned about. Moskva, Petro, both with 12-kilometer radar. DD threats, well, yeah, outgunned by everything but the other Shimakaze. Gearing, and two Marceau, and then a Shima on the other side. Oh, and I neglected to mention the Salem, which has shorter range radar, but equally dangerous if you get caught by it. So why am I inching forward here? Well, two reasons. One, I like to get some idea of what the red CV is going to do before I commit too hard to a cap. You see, I still am staying in the area where I spawned, and my goal is almost in every case. I mean, there are very, very rare exceptions. I try to help with whatever cap I spawn behind when I'm playing a destroyer. So that's what I'm doing here. You can see our Marceau has pushed right into the cap. So I'm going to see what I can do to help here. Our Gearing, rather than going for A, has come this way. Questionable decision, but we'll see how that plays out. There were both the red Marceaus at A, and Gearing may have just, and perhaps rightly so, decided that it wasn't worth the risk of having two Marceaus chasing him and gunning him. You can see that our Marceau is about to come under torpedo attack. And Salem is seemingly going to be going behind the islands. Sometimes they will make course changes. So I went ahead and threw out one set of torpedoes there. Make sure I don't get hit by one of these. And I've moved far enough back that I can still remain unseen. Salem focused on the Gearing, at least when I fired. So I'll add a few shells to the mix. Not going to do much, but and our Gearing, well, no judgment. Might have been a bad day instead of being a bad player. You just never know. Marceau's throwing some torpedoes behind him. Now, why am I showing you this replay in particular of a ship that I play so often? I've got to watch my range to that Petro. I don't want to get caught here. Don't have to worry about the aircraft from the Gudenlu on the other side. Those can't spot, which I think was a very good change to the aircraft mechanics for that particular line. I'm showing you this game because, those of you who have played the game with me on a regular basis, and there's been a lot going on in my personal life that has made me perhaps a little bit more, the description I've been using is unfit for human interaction. But there are a lot of ICOPs that have spent a fair amount of time playing this game, and others going back all the way to 1999 when ICOP got started, who know that for a ship like this, I preach just stay alive. Try to play the entire game and never be seen. If your strength is torpedoes and stealth, make use of that at every turn. And this game really, really highlights the importance of that. We're over 4 minutes into a 20-minute maximum, 20-minute game. And I've got a total of 1,419 damage. Now you can see those torpedoes, they're looking pretty decent. But getting back to remaining unseen, I cannot overstate the importance of trying to remain unseen. And I do land 4 torpedoes on the Kurfürst. And he is continuing to flood. Enemy Marceau takes out our Marceau. So we're down a gearing and a Marceau. And, you know, there's reason to feel, okay, so you can see our Marceau there in the chat. And the flooding drags down the Kurfürst. There's the Salem radar. That's why I didn't push into the cap. I could always reverse in, but being aware that he was there and that the radar could pop any time, I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to go this way. And the radar did pop, so I moved behind the island. So, again, getting back to remain unseen. By remaining unseen, you keep yourself in the game. Now, at this point, you can see I've got a friendly shooting at me. I guess because I didn't push into the cap. I don't know if it was the Napoli or the Gudenlu or Yamato. I don't know who was shooting at that. Those shells didn't look big enough to be Yamato shells. But, if you play stealth destroyers, Moskva takes out our Worcester. If you play stealth destroyers and you're playing kind of the style that I'm recommending and that I'm playing here, you will have cruiser, battleship, and sometimes even CV players who will raise absolute cane and talk about how awful you are, etc., because you're not moving up and engaging. But anyone with any sense knows that if you're playing a Shimakaze and you move up and you engage a Salem with your guns, that is a losing proposition. And if you're out of the game, you are unable to help affect the outcome of the game. Our Slava finishes off the Moskva, and it's again 3 ships down for both teams. I'm radio located, and I've got someone radio located. So we both, I imagine it's probably the same thing, it's probably a destroyer. We both have some idea of where each other are. I have to be careful here of that radar. Russian radar is only 25 seconds long, so I'm watching the counter. And I'm going to try keep the island between myself and where I think the bad guys are. And the radar goes down. You can see the Marceau, and I think that's what my radio location is pointing at. Maybe. The other Marceau might be closer. Yeah, he is. He's in the cap. So at this point I'm thinking, I do not have any choice. I have to run. I've got aircraft coming in. I've got 2 Marceau right behind me. If I can survive this, it'll be a minor miracle. I get plane spotted, and now I know the shells are going to start coming. I also have Gudenlu I have to worry about. So I'm going to go ahead and smoke up here, get undetected. But I can't sit here because if Gudenlu has his airstrikes available, they will be coming soon. There's a fighter over me, so I'm just kind of inching forward. I have to keep moving though, because the Shima and the Marceau, they're right behind me. And because they are right behind me, I'm going to throw some torpedoes out there and try and slow them down. By slowing down myself and staying in the cap as long as I did, using the smoke like that, I gave the Gudenlu time to get far enough away where I wouldn't be detected when I came around this corner. Now maybe I might have been able to squeeze by here, but I wanted to buy a little bit more time to make sure. And you can see the aircraft are back. I'm just going as fast as I can, trying to avoid getting detected. And I got to tell you, during the game itself, that was a very stressful moment. Now I know Shima's there. I'm going to stay penciled up. give him as narrow a profile as possible, and I can still put 4 shells out on him. And I'm difficult to hit because I'm angled against all these guys, and he's showing me full broadside. And I'm going to have the help of the Grosso Boy here in a second. You can see that on the mini-map. Gudenlu's got me, and this is very tough. I mean, this is a true run and gun experience. 2 Marceau, Gudenlu, and a Shima all right behind me. And right now I'm down to 1,394 HP. My engine's damaged, and I'm just trying to stay alive. Both teams now down 4 ships. I do not want to be ship number 5 destroyed for my team. I want to stay in the game, so I'm going to keep running ahead of this push and hope that their CV finds something else to do. Our Gudenlu, thank you Teresa Ward, takes out their Gudenlu Peridot. If you have been any time on the Wargaming forums, I'm sure you've probably seen that name. Not someone I know personally, only by having seen them from time to time in the Wargaming forums. Time to use the smoke again. I cannot get hit. Fortunately for me, that Marceau was not looking my way when I was detected. Now just make a blind fire here. And I do manage to land a few more shells. CV is trying to finish me off, and the Marceau is just pushing right in. But I've got some help now. I've got the Napoli here with me. I don't want to run out of my smoke, so I'm going to slow down here and see if I can't finish this guy off. Okay. Trying to remain unseen. Now there may be torpedoes coming, and I know the Shim is on the other side of that island. Radio location is telling me that. It looks like he may be falling back. I'm just going to ping there, let the Napoli know, hey, you got a destroyer there. Don't know how far away he is, but he is on the other side of the island. You can see the indicator on the mini-map. And I want our Napoli to know, be careful if you come around that corner. Now, to me, it looks like he's headed the other direction now. So I'm going to ping where I think he is, which is pretty close to where he was. Throw some torpedoes out ahead of our Napoli. I've got my smoke in front of me, so I can do some blind firing here. Looks like he accelerated forward. He did. And our Napoli finishes him off. And just like that, the bad guys are down to 4 ships. And we still have 7 ships. Now, did I do a whole heck of a lot there other than stay alive? No. But I was able to do some spotting. I was able to help the team know where the enemy destroyer was. And why? Because I was still in the game. I didn't get sunk. I didn't decide, hey, this is a tough situation, so I'm just going to do some YOLO moves and go out in a blaze of glory. Sometimes that can be fun, but I, in addition to preaching when you're playing this type of ship, stay unseen, I always try to think of the team. Can you continue to contribute to the team? I want to take a second here, and I want to applaud Teresa Ward. Teresa Ward actually topped the scoreboard in this game. I think I was second. I had 2050 or 2015 base XP. I had a good game, but Teresa Ward in the Gudenlu just had a phenomenal game and ended up around closer to 2100 base XP, I think. So, great game, Teresa Ward. Whether that's your name or whether you just, use your game name in honor of someone else, you played a heck of a game. And now, the good guys are in a position to be able to win a game. We've still got 6 ships. Bad guys are down to 4. We've got 2 ships in a red cap. I don't know how long that Yamato's going to last, sailing broadside like that to another Yamato, but I guess we'll see. And what I'm thinking right now is the enemy CV seems to be occupied somewhere else. I may be able to get torpedoes on the Yamato. If I'm able to get torpedoes on the Yamato, maybe I can help out in this cap here. Now I'm going to put some torpedoes out ahead in case he turns out. Some kind of on the same line he's on right now. I debated just for a half a second turning to port there and just heading right into the cap, but if he moves forward enough, he would have spotted me. He's turning to avoid torpedoes from the air, and that's going to put him full broadside to my torpedo salvo, and that's going to be it for Yamato. I know more or less where that Marceau's at in the cap. I'll get up here and make use of the island, or at least trying to. I don't know whether it'll offer me cover or not, but I've still got a smoke if I need it. And I'm going to see if I can get guns on the Marceau. He went dark just as I pulled the trigger. Is he going to fire at me? Is he not going to fire at me? I can't really afford to get beat up, so I'm going to go ahead and smoke. It's possibly threw torpedoes into this gap, but I think he was far enough forward by the time he knew I was here that he might have held on to him even if he had him. So I'm going to go ahead and go on out here. Now the Reds have put up a heck of a fight. It's really been a good game. I mean, you can see our Yamato is almost dead. I'm almost dead. Napoli's almost dead. Gunlu's very banged up. Even our CV took damage. This was a slugging match. There's the Marceau. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get hands on him before our Napoli does, but either way, he's gone. Our bad guys are now down to 1 ship. But, you know, they've still got a commanding point lead. They're at 816. We're at 654. They've still got a cap, and we are all very far away. So now, as you will see in the chat there, we're well aware of the situation. We're all steaming full speed to try to get guns on the Richthofen. There's just not enough time. And to make matters worse, the Richthofen is making a project of our Gunlu. The same Teresa Ward I was bragging about a little bit earlier is going to become pretty much the sole focus of the CV. It's not a very fun position to be in. Gunlu has decent AA, but let's face it, AA in this game these days, it's a beautiful visual that doesn't really help you all that much. Now, taking a look at the map, Yamato is going to be able to get guns on Richthofen here soon. Our Napoli is going to get guns on Richthofen here soon. We do have a chance. Richthofen is down to 36,000 hit points, and you can see he's still running, but he's come around the corner of the island, and Napoli can get guns on him now. And it's just a question of whether we can sink the Richthofen in the next minute and 12 seconds. He goes dark for just a sec. And our Gunlu goes down. We've got literally have 1 minute left, and it's all over. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.